there. He's been in the league since '98. Really, a guy who can still be a pretty good quarterback, but he won't be that elite QB anymore. He's not that elite guy anymore that he was all those years with the Colts. But with Denver, with their defense, with Von Miller being such a beast, and the rest of their defense being so good, he doesn't really need to be he doesn't need to be that Peyton Manning. He doesn't need to be that guy who week in week out has to put up 300 plus yards, get so many touchdowns a week. I don't think he needs that, because this is this is a good team. I mean, you saw how far they went last year with Tim Tebow, who was an average at best QB. They went to the second round of the playoffs. So if you're Peyton Manning, you come in, hand the ball off. You have some good playmakers. Just be, you don't need to be the guy anymore. But I think with this defense, just put enough points up for this defense to just get the job done. I think the Denver Broncos are just a really solid team right now. I really think Denver Broncos have a real shot at the Super Bowl. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC, but I really think Denver's on the up. And I really like their coach, John Fox. He's a really, really good coach. And I just think, maybe not this year, but I think somewhere down the line, maybe in a couple of years, the Denver Broncos are going to win a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. Our next team is the San Diego Chargers. Of course, the question going into the season has to be, can Philip Rivers become that elite QB that everybody thinks he can be? Philip Rivers is a really good an okay quarterback, but potentially be a really good quarterback. I mean, it always seems that there's always something wrong in San Diego. If it's the coaching staff, if it's receivers, or the defense can't stop anyone. It's never really Philip Rivers. I never really think it's Philip Rivers' fault for their shortcomings the last couple years, but he has to. That's what good QBs do. They elevate players around them. That's something Philip Rivers just doesn't do. He doesn't elevate guys around him. And he lost a few weapons this offseason. I mean, Vincent Jackson is now in Tampa Bay. Eddie Royale is hurt right now. Who knows when he's going back? He still has Malcolm Floyd, who has potential to be a good receiver. Probably not a Pro Bowl type receiver, but could be a pretty good receiver. But I think for this offense to run, I think Ryan Matthews has to finally show up and be that consistent guy who just runs between the tackles and just shows up every week and gets 100 plus yards every week. For this offense to be good, I think it has to be more of a balanced offense now. You can't rely on the QB all the time. You're not going to win. You're not going to win doing that. You can't, unless you have Tom Brady, you can't consistently expect Philip Rivers to put 300 plus yards and 5 touchdowns a game. That just isn't going to work. I think Ryan Matthews has to step his game up and become that elite, maybe not elite, but a very good running back in this league, which he has potential to do since he was pretty good in college. And on the other side of the ball, this defense last couple of years has just been beat down. I mean, not a very good defense last couple of years, especially last year. Not a very good defense. Made a few changes. We'll see what happens there. But going forward, I think this team's going to be okay. Do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? No. I think they're kind of past being a Super Bowl contender. But can they get in the playoffs? Yeah. Can they win this division? Yeah. Are they the most talented team in this division? I think they are. I still think San Diego Chargers are the best talented team in the AFC West. And we'll see what happens, because they're a really good team, and just always something goes wrong for San Diego along the line. And one of these years, you got to expect that one year they're just going to put it all together and finally go back to the play. And our next team, the Oakland Raiders. Of course, the biggest question for Oakland going season has to be, can Carson Palmer go back to being elite QB in the NFL? I've never been a huge fan of Carson Palmer. I always felt he was highly overrated. I mean, he has a talent to be a good QB in the league, no doubt. I mean, the first overall pick in 2003, 2004, around there. All his years in Cincinnati, took to the playoffs twice. 1 year he was a really good QB, probably his best year in 2006, when he was just QB. He was just on mark every time. Was a great year in Cincinnati when he had Chad Johnson around him, Who's Mazada, Chris Henry, had a very good offense. And then, of course, got hurt in that playoff game against the Steelers. And then went down and then never really recovered. Let's be honest, never really got back to the level he was playing at. That knee injury never really got back. Kind of had a lot of bad years in Cincinnati after that. Made the playoffs in 2009, but that was more just him just handing the ball off to a Benson. And then Benson had a beast year that year. And that was more what that was on. And with this team, though, man, he has a few good weapons. Bay turned to a really good receiver last year. He has a few more weapons there. But for Carson Palmer to be good, I think he needs more of a balanced offense. We talk about Chargers. I think Oakland the same way. You need Darren McFadden to be the guy. You need Darren McFadden to be the beast. He was very good last year until he got hurt. I mean, Darren McFadden just can't stay healthy. For whatever reason, he just can't stay healthy. And I think that really hurt him last year. I mean, he was having a Pro Bowl type year last year before he got hurt. There was a few questions. Maybe his toughness got questioned. I'm not here to question his toughness because who knows how hurt he really was. But for this team to be a good offense, they need Darren McFadden to play all 16 games and be that consistent horse that he was last year, because Carson Palmer can't get it done because we came in last year after sitting out for half a year, didn't look well. He didn't look good. I mean, throwing pick after pick after pick, not really finding his receivers. And that'll come with training camp. That'll come down with OTAs and training camp. He'll find the chemistry with those receivers. But I just don't think Carson Palmer is that guy that everybody wants to put him as. Is he a good QB? He's an alright QB. He's not an elite QB anymore. He was for a couple years, but not elite QB. He's just kind of maybe not even second tier, maybe that third tier kind of QB, But, and on the other side of the ball, the defense, it's hard to say if they're a bad defense because they're not a horrible defense, but they're not a great defense. But I just think in all, the Oakland Raiders have been a lot of change and the coaching staff being changed again. And I just think it's going to take another year for the coaching staff to get their system in. And I just think with the only chance this team's got a chance in this division is if Carson Palmer goes back to being elite QB, which I don't think he will. Darren McFadden's got to stay healthy, which he's never done. And this defense has to step their game up. And we'll see what happens there. But I just think in Oakland Raiders, hate to say it because I really like Oakland, but I feel the Oakland Raiders are going to be finishing 4th in the West this upcoming year. Our last team, a team I really like, a team I think could be a dark horse to win the West this year, the Kansas City Chiefs. Biggest question going in, can they go back to the playoffs after a horrible 2011? Last year, man, they just couldn't stay healthy. For whatever reason, they just could not stay healthy. I mean, Jamal Charles is one of the best running backs in the league, and he went down, week 3 when he tore his ACL. You can't have that. The Chiefs are a very good team with Jamal Charles in there. Matt Castle, still a good QB, not a great QB, no doubt, but I think I still like Matt Castle. I think Matt Castle could get the Chiefs back to the playoffs. I think he knows his job. Hands the balls to Charles, gets the ball down the field to Bo. Very good system they run there, and a defense who is not awful. Defense gets new coach Romeo Crennel, which I think I'm a big fan of Romeo Crennel. I think he got stiffed in Cleveland. I thought he should have, even though he had that bad year, I still think he should have kept his job. I think he's a really good coach and a very good coordinator. Very, very good coordinator. But he's a very good coordinator. And I think still a very good coach. And I think I think he knows how to push all the right buttons. And I really like Chiefs this year. I think Matt Castle's going to have a bounce back year. I think Jamal Charles maybe won't have a great year because he'll probably take a year just to get that knee right. But I think Jamal Charles will still have a good game. I still think he'll have that burst to get down the field. And I think Dwayne Bowe is slowly turning into an elite receiver in the NFL. I really like Dwayne Bowe ever since day one. And I really like the Chiefs team. I mean, I'm gushing over this team because I really think they have a shot to win the West this year. And I think they have a really good team. And I think they will go back to the playoffs. All right, that's the preview. So now we go down to the good part. Who wins the West? I like the Chiefs. I want to say the Chiefs, but my gut just says Peyton Manning with a great defense in Denver. I gotta go with Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos to win the AFC West. And when they get to the playoffs, we'll see what they do there. Maybe, just maybe, could go to the Super Bowl. Well, until next time, I'm your Ducks for saying I'm Ducks, and I know sports.